Labor Department has given cash aid to their families. Well, being a seafarer can be risky. The perils of the job can cause worry to their families. That's why a global communications company wants to help. Iridium seeks to bridge the gap between mariners and their loved ones through mobile satellite technology. Joining us now tonight, live from London, is Iridium Director of Maritime Safety and Security, Kyle Hurst. Kyle, thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. You heard the story of the Filipino seamen. Some have lost their lives, some are still missing in action. It's a tough job out there, Kyle. Being a former sailor yourself, tell us, what are these seamen feeling after months without shore leave?
Good evening, Rico, and thanks for having me on. It can only be described as extremely difficult. I mean, having, as you say, I've been at sea, it can be very taxing, but I think the main thing is not necessarily just limited to the fact that they can't come home currently, but also for many of them, they don't know when they're going to be able to come home, because it's not just a case of people being stuck at sea right now. It's also the fact that they have colleagues that are stuck at home. So not only can people not get from ships back home, but people who need to work and need to support their family can't get from home back to work. And it's a multi-layered problem as well. It's ports, it's flights. There's a lot of issues out there that's really stopping people from doing what they need to do.
So Kyle, with many Filipinos stuck at sea, does this have safety implications, particularly now we're in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic?
Yeah, it obviously makes it harder to do your job when you don't know when you're going home. It has psychological effects. Your family is still having day-to-day issues and problems, and you're trying to console them, and that's going to have an effect on the average mariner. And that, that psychological effect can take their mind off their work and can have safety issues. And this is all apart from the fact that we need these guys. We need global trade. All the things it has to shut down in this era, global trade is definitely not one thing that we want to be affected. So this is basically the lifeblood, or the system that keeps a lot of things alive right now. So we definitely need to look after these people and look after the system, because it needs to be resilient through this trying period.
They are a major bridge to the supply chains, Kyle, but to allay the anxiety of these stranded Filipino seamen, they have to keep in touch with family and friends through vital satellite communications.
Yeah, and we offer great satellite communications, and it's deployed all around the world. But recently, because of COVID, we're actually doing programs such as giving away free minutes to people who use our equipment to try and ensure that we maintain that communication. So whilst people are potentially stranded at sea for months and months longer than they really wanted to be, hopefully being able to talk and communicate with their family and keep in touch with the issues at home can make that a little easier to bear, but obviously a very difficult time.
But how advanced right now, Kyle, is satellite communications compared when it started 20 years ago?
Yeah, having been at sea 20 years ago, it was very basic. I mean, I used to get maybe one call every handful of days, and it was only basically 5 minutes. But these days they have proper internet connectivity, maybe not as high speed as what we have here on shore, obviously, but they do have connectivity. They do have voice options, messaging, social media, even video chat. So there are options these days that we didn't have 20 years ago to keep in contact. And, obviously those communications don't just assist mariners, they obviously assist the shipping companies and allow these mariners to do their jobs better, because communication overall has improved dramatically.
Usually that is, Filipino seafarers and the remittance that they send to their families back here in the Philippines is really a major lifeblood and the backbone of the Philippine economy. And with many of them in all kinds of ships across the world, are most of these vessels equipped with global satellite communications?
Yes, most of them are. And from the conversations that I have with shipping companies, recently, they are doing what they can to, improve communications, assist the mariners. And I will say that I'm really proud of a lot of the shipping companies that I talk to, because they are going over and above to try and look after the crew. In other words, they are working with their competitors, other shipping companies, to charter special flights so that they can get crew home and also back on board. So there is a lot being done.
Thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. Kyle Hurst from Iridium Communications joining us live from London.